What is up, everybody? Dak here, and today it's episode 3 of the horn build. And today, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to be experimenting with bending plywood. So I'm probably going to cut about an inch strip off this, and I've heard a technique which is not just to soak it, but to heat it up and soak it. So I'm going to try immersing it in boiling hot water and see if that can do it. I'll put a bit of tension on it, as in I'll have another bit of plywood lengthways, and I'll clamp it to that with something in the middle. If that works, I'll be able to work out how to do an entire sheet of it, remembering that I have to make it 600 mils by 1 meter, and that's pretty big. I don't have any tubs that'd fit that apart from that, but you know how much energy it'll take to fill a wheelie bin full of boiling water. Yeah, no, definitely not worth the effort. So yeah, I'll cut an inch off that. I'll also show you what I did yesterday. Hopefully the audio's clear, but yeah, I cut these 2 half pipes out. You can see top one, bottom one, in the middle. When I cut them, they kind of compressed a bit, so I've got 2 bits of PVC in there and weights on top, which will hopefully spring them back out again. Yeah, it's odd, they went from 15.5 centimeters internal diameter to just 14, so that wasn't good at all. They were very squished, but you can see on the side though where I was doing the sanding, it's so when I put them in the back, they meet up nicely with the plywood. Instead of having that 5mm gap that I'll have to fill, it goes down to this about 1mm there, which should be a lot easier to body fill in for a smooth curve. I also cut that out, as I said I was going to yesterday. That wasn't too difficult. Yeah, I'm going to cut this slice off right now. I'm not going to bother time-lapsing it. I wasn't very impressed with the time-lapse from yesterday, as yeah, a couple hours footage into 30 seconds, not great. And also it seems that I can't change the time-lapse. I wish me luck though that this actually works. If this doesn't work, I think I'll go for the strategy of cut out the, and I wish I could also zoom out more, those, so cut curves, many of them, and then stack them up, and then that should form a nice curved section. I would like to do that, although I've never done it before and I'm not entirely sure on how to do it. But I think it's worth a shot. I reckon it could be neat, and I know it'd look very nice with the layered plywood that I could put resin over. I think I said stain yesterday, but no, I'm gonna coat the entire inside of the horn with fiberglass resin, just to make it super smooth, and I'll probably sand it back and maybe even buff it too in the mouth section, just to make it look really nice and smooth and hopefully acoustically optimized. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to get to this and I'll be back shortly. So I've just cut 2 slices out of that, and I've got them right here clamped together with this brick in between. As you can see, the curve of the bottom piece is not much at all. In fact, it's possible that any curve you can see was due to how I cut it. So right now it is spring loaded, and as you can see right there, it's due to the laminations, it's actually separated a bit right there, probably due to the tension. So possibly it would be better to cut it so the fibers lengthways run all the way up the side, so that they follow the curve instead of go across the curve. So that's something to think about. So right now, the idea would be to remove any spring tension. So if I can get it hot, and if it absorbs some water to soften the fibers a bit, and hopefully by the time it dries out, it'll hold its shape and it won't actually have any tension on it. It wasn't too much force to torque this down, which is good, because if it was a lot of force, then I probably wouldn't be able to do something 60 centimeters. It would require 20 times the force of this thin bit here, which really would add up. I might not be able to do that much. I've just put this in the bath and filled it up to completely submerge the bottom bit that you can see just there. Apologies for the echo, but it wouldn't fit in any sink as it is 2 feet long, and I probably could have thought of that first. But yeah, hopefully I'm just going to leave this for a while. The water temperature is probably around 65-70 degrees, and hopefully that's enough to get the job done. Alright, so as you can see, I've now cut this section off, and I'm left with this sheet, which is roughly 1.2 meters by 101.7 centimeters. So the next step is I'm going to be cutting this straight down the middle, hopefully in half. It is pretty precisely 1.2 meters wide. So in order to get two even bits 60 centimeters wide, I'm going to have to use as thin a blade as possible and be as precise as possible. So the next section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to align something like that and clamp it, and I'm going to go along with a jigsaw with a 1mm thick blade and hopefully get a very straight, very thin cut, and so I won't have to sand off as much. That's the plan anyway. Hopefully it works. Also, you'll notice that the grain here is lengthwise, so I'm considering using these two pieces as the inside of the horn. The two parts are going to be curved, as I mentioned, that it seems best if you stretch or compress along the fibre. I've now got the straight edge set up, so it is the thickness of the base of the jigsaw away. So now if I follow it, might be a bit hard to see, but the blade right there lines up perfectly with the line. So I just hold the jigsaw up against that and run it all the way along, and I should get a perfectly straight line. That's also a good ideal to, if you don't have a circular saw, doing this with a jigsaw can get pretty good cuts. Alright, so I've just cut these in half, and now as you can see, possibly there is this pencil line right here, and I've got to sand back to it, so I'll go get the belt sander for that. The halves turned out pretty accurate. On this side they are the same width, but on that side there's about a millimeter difference, and it's not hard. It only has to move half a millimeter across the line to end up being a millimeter of difference. What is up everybody, Dak here, and I'm back. It's day 3. I was cut short yesterday unfortunately due to rain, and today it's been raining as well, which is why I'm in here. But luckily I don't have any cutting to do of big sheets of plywood. I've just got some sanding to do, so that's what I'm going to be doing right now. But I also have 2 other things I like to tackle. The first one is this. I left this soaking for about 6 hours, and in total it's been clamped for probably about 28 hours now. So I'm going to release it and see if it holds its shape. Moment of truth. Well, I'm not sure about you, but I don't think that's a very straight bit of plywood. Okay, that's a good sign. So it does hold. It does want to stay. Yeah, it actually wants to hold its shape. Okay, that's very good. Honestly, I was expecting it to not want to hold its shape. So that's good. I heard of another method, which is to soak it in water and then afterward iron the side that you want to bow. So you'd iron this side, and then it should. You might also need to clamp it and have it bent over something like I did here, but that's one method that I've heard, and I might give it a shot too. But it'd be a lot easier to iron a sheet of wood than try to have it in hot water for an extended period of time. The next thing is, and hopefully I'm still within field of view here, the pipes, the 2 half pipes that I'd cut. After I'd cut them, they had sprung closed, or a bit closed, and I wouldn't be surprised if they hold it because I've worked with PVC before, and once it heats up, it's thermally setting, so it likes to hold its shape. And I'm expecting not much to happen. I'll probably need to get the heat gun on it, which is just over there. And yeah, let's have a look. Alright, well, for a start, you can see that it doesn't want to sit all the way down. And I'll just get a rule quickly. Okay, the diameter has gone from 140 mils to 147 millimeters. So on that one, which isn't bad, actually, it's not bad. And on this one, it's also 140. Alright, unfortunately the iPad ran out of storage without me noticing. 3 gigs really doesn't go far. But the next thing I'm going to be doing is some sanding, and I'm going to do a time lapse of that because there's not much going on. So, I'll be back in a sec. Alright, I'm done, and as you can see, some progress has been made. I've just done a mock-up right now. I've got the 2 half pipes in the end, and the speaker is right in the middle in its short bit of PVC pipe. This is roughly the ratio of how it's all going together. So this is going to be in the middle. I know it's a bit odd, but yeah, that's unfortunately how folded horns work. You're at the mercy of cramming things in. So this is where this fits. Although it will be 20 centimeters higher than it currently is, and it'll be a standard mount. 5 centimeter gap at the top is not nearly enough for any sub. So even the lowest profile subs wouldn't be 5 centimeters at 12-inch. So yeah, this is how big it is. It's hard to get a scale, but there is a 1 foot ruler just there. And I'll rotate this around and I'll step back a bit. And yeah, you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. The mouth of it has a surface area of 4 square feet, and it's got a depth of 3.1 feet, which is, of course, 60 by 60 centimeters and 1 meter deep. So, yeah, it's a big unit. This 12 doesn't look very big in it. I think I couldn't really tell at first, but seeing it as it is now, this is starting to feel like the biggest box I've made. It's going to be 360 liters with a close second of 300 liters, and then 240 liters for third. So, yeah, it's coming along nicely. I'm going to have to disassemble this in a second, just so it doesn't fall apart. Right now, the only thing holding the sides on are the clamps onto the PVC pipe, as you can see right there. So, hopefully you've enjoyed, and you're keen to see where this goes now that it's actually turning into a physical 3D thing. So yeah, if you want to see more, subscribe. If you enjoyed, hit like, and I'll see you in the next episode.